Hey there, YouTube. This is the Green Heart, and I've got another voiceover video for you today. So let's kick up the speed and get that going. We just entered the autumn time of the year, and it's harvest season. So we're pulling stuff out of the garden, and there's fruit all on the trees, and we wanted to take advantage of that as best we could. So went back and forth, and we decided we wanted to get a apple press and try to make our own cider. We had the opportunity to go pick some apples from our community garden, and we wanted to try and press that. Uh, so we went back and forth on what we were looking to get. We could buy something new, um, and we kind of debated on that if we wanted to do that. As some concerns around the quality and things of that nature. So we kind of wanted to find, maybe something that was a little less manufactured, less everything new. Kind of had a painting on it and stuff, and we didn't want to have that on there. We were worried that over time the paint might flake off and get into the cider or whatever juices that we were pressing. So we didn't want to really deal with that. We wanted kind of a older style wooden press, and couldn't find anything online. And of course, local stores aren't. This isn't really an everyday item. Even the kind of farm stores really didn't have anything. So we looked up on Craigslist, and wouldn't you know, about an hour away for the price of a new one that's manufactured out of all steel or aluminum, uh, was the same price. It was about an hour away. So called the guy up and went out and checked it out. And when I got out there, it's a little smaller than probably I would have liked, but it's good for our usage. We don't need anything too big, I suppose. But when I got out there, I kind of asked a guy about it, and he told me that he's selling it for his father. His father used to be a carpenter, and they used to use it to make wine. His father used to use it to make wine. So I kind of right off the bat was like, well, if the carpenter's got this, was taking care of this, then it's probably well taken care of. It was pretty obvious that this thing had been sitting for a while, probably sitting in the garage or something. All the metal parts were rusted on it, and so I just took a wire brush and just brushed that off, and it came right off. And of course, there's cobwebs and stuff on it. The little net mesh bag that's inside that holds the fruit and the pulp, that was pretty dry rotted, so I ended up buying a new one of those. And I really got to start reading the descriptions on some of these things, because it's the bags we got were probably like twice as big. It's kind of comical, but it actually worked out in the end when we were pressing them to have the extra bag space to kind of wrap them around, wrap it inside. So that worked out all right. So if you're not familiar with a press like this, or how this works, I'm kind of going to walk through that real quick. So right now, you can't see it, but I'm cleaning off a handle. Kind of, it's a T shape, goes onto that bar there. It's kind of all thread. Is what I imagine that is. That's got a little point on the end of it that sits into the little wooden block on the left here. So there's a metal cap on that wooden block, and that all thread nests down into the top of that when it's placed inside the container, which is above. It has the blue rings on it. So you take that wooden container with the blue rings on it, and you set it inside the press. You unscrew the bar all the way to the top to be able to move that in, and um, you put your liner inside that container. At least this is how I do it because of the size and everything. I put the liner inside the container, and then I scoop the apple pulp that's been grinded up into the bag until it's full, and then you cap it with the little wooden block there to the left, and then you start screwing down the all thread into that cap, and then that pushes that down and just presses it all. You can see right there I'm cleaning out the grooves, so those grooves will funnel the juice that comes out, and it'll come towards me. There's a little lip there you can see when I move my hand, that it will drain out into a bucket. There's a better view. That's the front of it. Um, there was a lot of trial and error when we were first using this, and I know that kind of sounds silly. It's a pretty simple device. There shouldn't be that much trial and error, but um, what we were discovering is, well, we know our garage floor isn't level, so that we've known that for a while. But what we discovered is that when this isn't level, when this device isn't level, the fluid will navigate towards the low end. I mean, that should be fairly obvious. That's what liquid does. Hindsight and everything, it's always obvious. But once we got the level out and kind of started messing around with that, we realized that that was an issue, and we were able to solve our problem with the cider leaking off the corner instead of coming out the front, and then it poured out the front like it was supposed to. So if you're ever using one of these and it's kind of going off to one side, the liquid is going off to one side or another, it's because you're not level. You need to get your device level so it goes out the center of it. Here I am just kind of inspecting the rivets and the metal that's wrapped around, that's holding all those individual wooden tines in place. The guy also had a 5-gallon carboy that he wanted to sell, and it looked like an older one. There's definitely some like bubbles in the glass or whatever from when it was made, but I figured, why not? Always use an extra carboy. Of course, I had to smell in there to see what it smelled like. It didn't smell like anything, so that worked out well. But yeah, just cleaning this up and getting this ready to use. I actually I'm using it right now for a blackberry rhubarb mead. As I finish up with the carboy here, I wanted to quickly put the press back together, and I say quickly here because I want to point out that this video has been sped up 500%. So as we sit here and watch how long it takes to get this all threads spun down, just imagine that this is 500 times slower. Along with the carboy came this little hideaway box that you could use to store the carboy in to keep whatever you're brewing from being exposed to daylight, and on that were these Brew labels that would suggest the last time these were used was in 2005. That would make this, almost 20 years old, about 17 years old, and at the very least. So I suspect that these are, this thing's probably maybe even 40 years old. So it's an antique piece of history, and something I will cherish having. So if you've made it this far, I would definitely appreciate you hanging out with me today. And as always, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment.